Ryan Williams, Deputy Press Secretary for the Romney for President campaign, who joins us to react to Bill Clinton and the rest of the Democratic National Convention from Charlotte, North Carolina. What's your headline so far, Ryan?
It's been an ode to big government liberalism and the failed policies of the last 4 years.
And a slap at God to boot, huh?
Yeah, I'm in Charlotte right now. We have a pretty robust Republican response operation going on down here, and it's really been a train wreck of a convention thus far. We've had the very embarrassing fight over God in Jerusalem in the platform. I'm sure many of you have already seen that. We've got a number of very shrill, angry speakers who have tried to smear Governor Romney, attack Governor Romney because they don't want to talk about President Obama's abysmal record. And then President Clinton, who gave a very long speech last night, gave a speech that really laid out the justification for a third Clinton term and not really a second Obama term.
But what's interesting about that, first of all, the fact that Bill Clinton's there and is needed to energize it speaks volumes about the failure of the Obama administration to date. Would you agree? I mean, the fact they got to call Bill off the bench to fire everybody up, that tells us about as much as we need to know about the state of the Obama presidency, doesn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, Obama literally had to bear hug Bill Clinton last night on the floor of his convention in order to boost his own sagging image. Clinton, obviously, someone who is far more popular than Obama is, and quite frankly, the way we see it, by coming out and talking about all the things that Clinton did when he was president, he drew a pretty sharp contrast to what Obama has done, which is the complete opposite. Higher unemployment, failed liberal policies, and a track record that is so bad he can't talk about his own record or campaign on his own record. He has to try to campaign on the presidency of Bill Clinton, which was several years ago. So it's really a commentary on how bad this president's term in office has been and how rough a shape he's in right now.
The other thing I found interesting is, Bill Clinton's legacy was obviously welfare reform. You'd probably have to say the state of the economy, largely as a result of a Republican Congress and working together. We don't know all of the interview, but evidently the president took an interview with Brian Williams and an excerpt out of it, and he basically blames the fact that he wanted to spend more time with his family that prevented him from working with Republicans. Now, the president, Clinton last night, making the case for Obama that big bad Republicans wouldn't work with the guy. Meanwhile, Bill Clinton, or rather Barack Obama, saying, "Hey, the reason I didn't spend more time trying to work with Republicans is that Michelle and the girls get more of my time, and I didn't have time for it." Those two don't reconcile, do they?
No, they don't. Look, Bill Clinton is someone who spent his first term in office, and learned something, and in his second term actually tried to work with Republicans, Newt Gingrich, in the House and Bob Dole in the Senate to actually get something done. They got a bipartisan Welfare Reform Act passed, which really was a key piece of legislation and a very successful piece of legislation. But this president hasn't done anything like that. This president rammed Obamacare down the throats of the American public without working with Republicans because he simply didn't feel the need to. He is a liberal ideologue who does not feel the need to work with Republicans or compromise in any way because he's got a certain ideology. He wants to expand government. He wants to spend more. And he wants to move away from the traditional free market style system we have in this country.
Another interesting piece we have from some other Obama interviews is an explanation, I guess is the best way to describe it, of the you didn't build that. Now, the president's sort of saying, hey, I messed up, but I think he said he messed up with a syntax. So he really hasn't said that he messed up by espousing a view that you didn't build that if you built a business, but rather how he said what he said. Am I right?
It's ridiculous. This is a pattern with this president. This isn't an error or a slip of the tongue. This is a window into his ideology. This is also a president. President Obama said the private sector is doing fine. He talked about redistributing wealth in his 2008 campaign, about imposing policies that will put coal power plants out of business because he doesn't like them. This wasn't an error. This wasn't a slip of the tongue. This was the president letting the mask slip for a bit and getting a look into what his true ideology and his true positions are. He tried in 2008 to mask those positions by campaigning like a Republican, saying he was going to cut taxes for 95% of Americans and reduce the budget deficit. Now we're in office. He's been in office for 3.5 years, almost 4 years. He's raised taxes. He's increased the and he simply can't hide behind his hollow rhetoric anymore.
Your boss, Mitt Romney, said yesterday about this platform fight, it's one more example of Israel being thrown under the bus by the president, and also about the word God and the passage about Jerusalem to the platform, told Carl Cameron from Fox News that the omission was a very troubling development, said the president and his party have now changed their position. They now say that they're not certain what the capital of Israel might be. I find that one more example of Israel being thrown under the bus by the president. I think it's a very sad day. And we have a bit of a blame game going, too. Are you watching this at all, Ryan? That, initially we're told by Politico the president reviewed the platform without God, without Jerusalem as the capital, okayed it. There was scrutiny by the press, miraculously. And it didn't look so good, so they tried to put it back in. Then they ram it through by fiat without the support of the delegates and two-thirds voice vote very clearly. And now the White House is saying this is a screw-up. You got Axelrod out there, Plouffe and others saying, hey, this wasn't our deal. This was the Democratic Party officials. Am I characterizing that correctly? What do we make of this?
You are. There is an epic blame game going on down here in Charlotte as a result of this fiasco. The key points are the president and his team, as reported by Politico, did review the platform and okayed it without the language that had been there previously with regards to God and Jerusalem in it. Then when the heat was turned up and there was scrutiny over the omission of the language, they panicked. They tried to change it, and when they brought those changes to the floor of the convention, there was very serious opposition. That's the most troubling thing, is that it wasn't just they forgot to put the language in and then put it back in. It's you watch that video. There was strong opposition on the floor of the Democratic National Committee's convention to putting the word God back in the platform and to recognizing Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. That is a very troubling development. And then they go forward and say, well, we're changing it because this is the president's views and these are his policies. This president, during his term in office, has not reaffirmed that Jerusalem is the capital of Israel. He's had a number of chances. His press secretary has had a number of chances, and they have dodged every question. Now they're getting a lot of heat at this convention. They're trying to say that's always been his position. He's yet to say it. We'll see if he says something tonight, but he has been weak on Israel. He has not stood up for one of our most important allies in the world, and this platform fiasco is just another chapter in the sad story of the way he treated our ally.
Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate it very much.